Welcome back to another episode of OC's Music Den, SoCal's most informative show for anything music. I'm your host, Danny DiLorenzo. My guest today, Don Morris, the current drummer of the punk band Leftover Crack. Don also plays in Rats in the Wall, which just had a record released by Indecision Records and Program Sounds. How you doing today, Don?
Doing good, thanks.
Good, man. Happy to have you here. So I'm kind of going to just jump right into it.
Let's do it.
So what got you interested in playing drums, and how did you really get your start?
So I started in middle school for no other good reason than I had a drum set. My friends wanted to start a band, and I said I'd be the drummer. And ever since then, I've been in bands, you know. I was going through a lot at the time, just discovered punk, you know, was just blown away by everything it was about. And I found a voice. You know,
I like
and the feeling that I got with that creative outlet is just something that I've been chasing after ever since.
That's awesome. So since I know you've been doing it your whole life, and I guess overall from where you were to where you are today, presently, I mean, how is it really, your work, your music, how has it really affected you? So
what drumming and what playing in bands have done for me is like allowed me to have a priority, if anything. There's a lot of static that went on, you know, just like distractions with drugs and school and social stuff and all that, you know, but the only constant that I had was music. And I kept that as a priority, and it simplified things for me a lot.
That's good.
Yeah.
You know, and I know you've been doing this your whole life, pretty much since middle school, almost your whole life. And, you know, I know you've done a lot up until this time, especially tours. And I guess with all the tours and shows that you've actually done, what would you say is the most memorable moment of your career so far?
Yeah, that's a hard question, or question to answer. I've been to so many rad places that I never thought I'd go. The most memorable for me would have to be a show that we had in La Puente here in California. We had a guest vocalist, Jesse Michaels, come up and sing a couple Operation Ivy songs during our set. And Operation Ivy is one of those bands that I grew up listening to, and it like really shaped me, like my personal beliefs and stuff like that. So being able to play those songs with that person was like a bucket list check for me.
So you got to play with your hero, Jesse Michaels, pretty much the guy who you followed since middle school.
Totally.
That's amazing. And I know you've learned a lot, and your whole career has kind of brought you to really the pinnacle these last 6 months, and you got to purchase Gothard Sound Studio. And I guess talk to us about how that really came about.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much like I heard from a friend of a friend that, you know, the owner of what was called Sunstar before me was looking to sell it.
Right.
And I guess he was burnt out, whatever the reason, and like piqued my interest.
Right.
You know, that's like totally my alley, like my area of expertise is just all that whole atmosphere. And it was one step after another. You know, the next indicated step. I talked to him. We've, you know, figured out some numbers that worked, you know, figured out a loan, so on and so forth, you know, business license, all that stuff. And until eventually I got into a situation where it's like, okay, I could go for it right now or call it all off.
Yeah.
And I just saw a lot of potential in that studio.
And how long have you had it?
I've had it for about 6 months.
6 months. Wow, that's not long.
I'm just finally finishing construction with it.
So, you know, I know
it's a long, slow process.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I know you haven't had it long. 6 months is like a baby studio. You know, for you, this is like your baby right now.
Absolutely.
And I know, like you said, 6 months, but in those 6 months, what have been the biggest challenges that you've faced personally?
Yeah, so like I'm brand new to this whole business owner thing.
Right.
There's a lot of learning curves that I've had to experience, and there's just a lot of things out there that try to divide me up with the money that I make, whether it be, you know, city or state fees or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of unforeseen fees. And it's like, I really got to take care of my money and make sure it goes to paying bills, instead of like what I want to do is like buy like really good equipment or get really cool lighting or, you know, stuff like that. I got to wait though. It's hard.
Yeah.
really
Discipline, right?
Financial discipline.
So,
I learned the hard way.
Yeah, and I know that we were talking a little bit about it, but you know, I know the studio has given you the opportunity to really help bands in many ways, bands that were really in the same position as you, and whether it's renting out the rooms or you know, letting them literally play shows right out of the studio. You know, what is your philosophy on that, and what do you, as an owner and a musician, really get out of that personally?
Yeah, I wouldn't really say that I have like a specific philosophy.
Right.
It's mainly like I just find a lot of joy when I see a band paying their dues, when I see them like really putting effort into their performance and showing up every week, and you know, trying to embark on this tour, you know, a tour or shows or whatever. There's a lot that can go wrong, and you know, I've had to learn some of that stuff the hard way, and I'm more than happy to, whatever I know, I'm more than happy to help them out with advice, or you know, maybe a lesson, or you know, or maybe just like a cheap room to practice in. You know, and it makes me feel good knowing that however big or little the part I play in it, you know, I had something to do with like with their success.
Yeah, and that's awesome. The fact that you can actually help them in this, you know, a lot of people and musicians, and they were in the exact, you were in the exact same position that they were in. And you know, Donna, I really want to thank you for your time. I was told that you have a special performance for us. You're going to be drumming from one of your songs, Gain Control, by Leftover Crack. So I'm ready for it, man.
Cool,
We're all
let's
ready
do it.
for it.
Awesome.
Stoked to hear it.